All right, let's talk business. Today, we're going to strip it all down to the absolute basics. We're essentially going to build a business from the ground up right here so we can really get what it's all about. And that means answering one really big question. We deal with businesses every single day, but have you ever stopped to think about what really makes a business? Well, a business. What's that invisible line that turns a hobby into a hustle or a passion project into a real deal enterprise? That's exactly what we're going to figure out together. So let's dive in. So let's get into it. The word business, it literally just means being busy. But here's the thing, not all busyness is the same, not by a long shot. To really get what a business is, we have to start by looking at the two basic kinds of activities we all do. Just think about your day for a second. Everything you do can pretty much be split into two big buckets. In one bucket, you've got your non-economic activities, right? That's the stuff you do for love, for fun, for personal satisfaction, like cooking a meal for your family or getting lost in a good book. Then, in the other bucket, you've got economic activities, and that's all about earning money. A business, it lives squarely in that second bucket. And that's the key difference right there. A business isn't just about being busy for the sake of it. It's about being busy with a very specific purpose. It's an organized effort, an economic machine, all focused on making and swapping things of value. Whether that's a physical product you can touch or a service you pay for. This quote from Stevenson just nails it. A business mission is like a two-sided coin. On one side, yeah, you've got profit. Gotta have that. But on the other side, and this is just as important, you're satisfying some kind of human want or need. And here's the kicker. In the long run, you absolutely cannot have one without the other. And that brings us to a really, really important point. Look, profit might be the fuel in the tank, but it's not the only thing making the engine run. A really successful business is actually powered by a whole mix of goals. So, what else is in that mix? Okay, so yeah, you can see profit is the biggest piece of the pie here, and that makes sense. But check out the other parts. You've got customer service, growth, innovation, and without a serious focus on those, trust me, that big profit slice is going to start getting smaller and fast. You've probably heard this a million times. The customer is king. It's old advice, but it's timeless for a reason. Why? Simple. No customers, no business, period. So keeping them happy isn't just, a nice little bonus. It's a core goal. It's how you keep them coming back and how you get more people in the door. And then there's growth. You got to think of a business like a living thing. It has to grow to survive. Because if you're just standing still in today's market, you're not actually standing still. You're falling behind. Growth is all about reaching more people, offering more things, and basically just making sure you're going to be around for a long, long time. Okay, so we've covered the why, the goals that drive a business. Now let's get into the how. How does it actually work? I want you to picture a business like a complex machine with all these different parts clicking and whirring together to hit those goals. So let's pop the hood and see what's inside. And here they are, the core engines of that machine. You've got production, they make the thing. Purchasing, they get the stuff to make the thing. Human resources, they find and take care of the people. Accounts, they watch the money. And sales and marketing, they tell everybody about it. When all these parts are working together perfectly, man, that's when the magic happens. So who's in charge of this whole machine? Well, that can look different depending on the business. It could be a sole proprietorship, which is basically a one-person show, or it could be a company where you've got a whole group of people who own it together, all sharing in the outcome. All right, so you've got your goals. You've built your machine. You're ready to go, right? Well, not so fast. Because you're not out there all by yourself. You've got competitors, the market is always changing, and random stuff is always going to pop up. To handle all of that, you need one more absolutely crucial piece of the puzzle, a game plan. You need a strategy. I love this quote from Sun Tzu. It's thousands of years old, written about war, but man, it is the absolute core of modern business strategy. Think about it. Know yourself. That's understanding your business's strengths and weaknesses. Know your enemies. That's knowing your competition inside and out. If you can do both of those things, you're set up to make smart moves and actually win. Okay, that's the fancy academic definition. But what does strategy actually mean day to day? It's your master plan. That's it. It's all the big choices you make about where you're going to play and how you're going to win. It guides every single decision you make about how to spend your time, your money, and your team's energy to get to where you want to go. The best way to think about it is like a roadmap. A strategy gives you a clear direction. It helps you lean into what you're good at and find the right opportunities. But here's something that's super important. A great strategy also tells you what not to do. It tells you which roads to ignore. And when everyone in the company is looking at the same map, it's so much easier for everyone to pull in the same direction and actually get there.
All right, let's bring it all home. We started with something as simple as just being busy, and we've worked our way all the way up to a complex game plan. We now have the complete blueprint for what a business really is.
And here is the number one thing to remember from all of this. A great idea, that's just the spark. A real business is a whole system. It's the combination of the why, that's your goals, the how, that's your structure, all those moving parts, and the what, that's your smart game plan for winning. So now that you have the blueprint, let me leave you with a question to chew on. If you were going to start a business tomorrow, what would be your very first move? Would you lock in your goals first? Would you start building the team? Or would you sit down and map out that strategy? There's no single right answer. Something to think about.